Hi, I'm Lesley McDavid and I'm the District Organiser for Peeblesshire and Tweedale. Just wanted to introduce you today to a couple of gardens from West Linton Village that would have opened for Scotland's Garden Scheme on the 2nd of August. We've been opening for some 30 years now and always a popular event. It's disappointing that we're unable to do that this year, particularly as two of the gardens were new. But hopefully next year we'll get back to normal. And in the meantime, I hope you'll enjoy these two from Paddy and Gordon Murray and John and Sandra Bracken. West Linton is a village in the northwest corner of the Borders, and it's about 800 feet above sea level, and we can have frosts as late as June or occasionally later, so conditions can be challenging, but I think you'll agree that these gardens look wonderful and can show what can be done.
Welcome to Trinity House. We're Gordon and Paddy Murray and have lived in the former manse built in 1786 for around 34 years. It's a large walled garden, probably about an acre, running by the side of the Line water in the centre of West Linton Village. We extended our herbaceous border a few years ago and a variety of plants: geraniums, campanulas, philodendron, phlox, delphiniums, eryngium, astilbes. We have an interesting sculpted slate top wall dividing the back and front garden, which slopes down to the river, and the side garden we grow a variety of vegetables. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to Trinity House. The Philadelphus is looking absolutely lovely at the moment. And the herbaceous has looked better, but it's coming on. Oh, baby, honestly.
We moved here just over 25 years ago into a village called West Linton, about 800 feet above sea level. It's basically a garden that's about 80 square metres in size, and we've split it into two basic rooms. First of all, this is one of the projects we did in the lockdown, where we renewed this fence and then created a seating area with pots of hostas, and what we have here is a cheese press, which we managed to get several years ago. It is extremely heavy, and basically I think it really suits this area of the garden. Okay, just take some of the this is one of the rooms of the garden, basically split into two. We have this Acer, which is called Acer chinonskii. It was one of the recommendations from one of the presenters of Beech Grove Garden many years ago, and it certainly has done very well in this garden and has a lovely autumn colour. One of the features is the bird bath, which is made out of one piece of stone and really looks good in this setting. We have a long herbaceous border with a geranium that I really like, which is Geranium Persillostemon. We have campanulas, alströmerias, Veronicastrum fascination, which is a really nice plant and flowers for a long period of time. About 2 or 3 years ago we made 2 raised beds to grow vegetables in. Basically they're 8 foot by 4 foot. We have a selection of vegetables, courgettes, a couple of cauliflowers, peas which we love, lettuces, onions, carrots, strawberries which are obviously under net and so the birds can't get them, and rhubarb which keeps us going for quite a long period during the summer. We have 2 greenhouses in the garden and they're not hidden away, they're prominently placed within the garden, both 10 foot by 8 foot. This is where all the work starts, basically in the middle of February, where we set off seeds, set off begonia tubers, potting up things. We've got some tomatoes, and these are cuttings taken from begonia tubers, and they're growing away really well. We've got a selection of lupins that we grew from seed, and they're in here because I'm afraid the slugs love them, and I'm trying to protect them from that. Side of this greenhouse we have 1 or 2 plants that maybe wouldn't survive so well if the soil was heavy and wet, but being next to the greenhouse they're a lot drier, and there are basically 2 types of eryngium, Big Blue and Joss King, and they really do well, as you can see, and they're just coming into flower, and the intensity of the blue is beautiful. A second greenhouse with a covered area. This is where I have more of the cuttings from the begonias I grow, and they really like it so that they don't get too much direct sunlight because the leaves scorch very easily, so it's very important to keep them shaded, especially in weather like this. These are all the adult tubers which are growing on, and they are at a stage where they will soon be needing to be staked so that we can support the stem and then grow the plant on to produce a single bloom, which hopefully in a normal year we will be showing. Unfortunately this year that won't be happening. This is the second room in the garden, and basically it's divided by an archway which consists of 2 Sorbus aria luticens which have been grown together as an arch. They require quite a bit of pruning in the early spring to keep the arch, and basically we go through into the second part of the garden. We have quite a few shrubs here, a sambucus, two of the viburnums that are just literally going over, but they were beautiful when they were in full flower. A large island bed of herbaceous plants with a clematis viticella in the middle. Basically, the lawn is just a way of getting round the garden, and it is really important to keep it well cut and edged to keep the crispness of the garden. We have a poppy. Here we have a poppy, Paddy's plum, or two in fact, and these were rescued from the search and rescue area of a garden centre several years ago, and I think this year they've produced about 40 blooms. Another area of herbaceous which is dominated by Geranium persillostemon, Geum totally tangerine, and Astrantia Roma, and I think we repeat this several times through the border, and that really gives it a continuity. It's also very important to have an area that you can sit, and this is an arbour that has two agapanthus in pots either side, a brick pathway which certainly blends in with the cottage style of planting. One of my favourite plants is the delphinium. Unfortunately this year, although there are quite a few delphiniums still to come into flower, several of them this year have been eaten by slugs and snails that crawled up the main stem and chewed through the flowering stem, and we've lost probably 10 or a dozen spikes. There are also selection of dahlias which we use for cutting and occasionally at the end of the season showing at the local show. Another lovely plant, Alstroemeria, another lovely Alstroemeria which can be used for cutting for the house. A beautiful peony, border charm. The flowers are so big and really eye-catching. Another beautiful geranium which is repeated both on this side of the border and here on this side. And this is a new area that we've just dug over and taken out some of the more pernicious weeds and replanted with peonies and one or two more herbaceous plants.